Welcome back to the Thoughtful Advocate podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Teo, and today we're going to talk about why mental health is so crucial for moms and honestly, parents in general. So, this includes finding a therapist. Honestly, I wish more people talked about the subject. Mental health and postpartum depression is just not really talked about and not really normalized. And it's weird because of how common it is. Approximately 1 in 4 women will have postpartum depression or anxiety after giving birth. And yeah, it's just not really talked about enough. I would say definitely better than back in the day because at least when you go to your OBGYN, they check on you mentally. But it's really up to you to prepare for when the baby comes. So that means finding a therapist and making sure that you have a community. And we're going to talk through that. There's different types of community, and I know this through my therapist, and I wanted to share with you. So before we get into it, if you're having a mental health crisis right now, I would definitely call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline right now. In Canada, it's 988. You can also call the National Maternal Mental Health Line. Let me read it. 1-833-852-6262. If you need help, I would reach out right now. And then, yeah, you can come back to this video later. So I'm going to start with the most important thing I think I did the first time around, and I'm going to do the second time around, is finding a therapist. And yeah, I really don't suggest you waiting until afterwards, because afterwards, it's the first 4 months are honestly hectic. You're like feeding basically every 2 hours, you're pumping, and they wake up so frequently. So you're just not going to have mental space or capacity to find a therapist then. So just do everything beforehand and yeah, get a therapist like now. Basically how it went is the first year I found a therapist a couple months ahead, and I really just wanted to prep myself because I've never been in a situation where I had to take care of a newborn baby. I thought therapy would help because maybe they could help me sort out any fears I had and really what to do when I'm like feeling down and low. And honestly, they gave me some great tips on how to prep, like having water stations at your most frequent places that you're going to be in your home. So, which would be the bedroom, the living room, the basement, wherever you spend the most time in. At least have 2 places where you have water, you have snacks, you have the diapers ready. And yeah, and beforehand, it's just really nice. And also, every time I find a new therapist, I find that they have new ways of support and tips to give as well. So the second time around, I have a different therapist, and yeah, I found her like at least like a month ahead. And so we've been having weekly check-ins just to see how I'm feeling, how my coping skills are with anxiety and depression, because I am diagnosed with those. And that way I'll be prepared for when the baby comes and how to deal with that. And yeah, I honestly think that mentally preparing yourself for having children is just so important. It's probably just as important as having the baby care that you need, because you need to support yourself in this journey. And it's a difficult journey, especially in the beginning when you don't know what the heck you're doing. This is my second time around and my husband's, so at least we have an idea. Just juggling two will be definitely an added challenge. We're here for it, obviously. And yeah, having children is one of the biggest mental and emotional challenges you're going to face in your life. It's a huge transition, and you just want to have the support that you need, people that are going to listen to you and give you advice when you need it. And yeah, really give you those tools to help you deal with things mentally, especially when you have anxiety and depression. It can be a lot. I'm not going to lie to anyone. I am scared about having 2 under 2. I've been really tired, especially in my 3rd trimester, trying to watch Ace and being heavily pregnant. We're just like heavy and you're sweating. You take 5 steps and you start sweating and just everywhere. So every day I need to take a shower because that's going to reset my mind. And yeah, it's just a lot. So I know I'll have more energy, hopefully, after my recovery phase. I am getting a C-section, but I know that at least when I'm not pregnant, I'm going to have a bit more energy. So I'm hoping that will help me with 2. And also, John's taking 4 months off, which is beautiful. We're really going to need that. And for emergency backup, we know nanny, and we also have, and if he's not available, we have other contacts as well, under trust. And I think it's important to face your fears or at least talk about them with a professional, because at least they'll be able to give you they'll give you some coping tools, and you just feel like less alone and more prepared for your fears, because the more time you think about it, especially within the 4 walls of your home, the bigger your fears can really get. And sometimes you just need a little reassurance, and having a therapist is really helpful. Yeah. This is why therapy is important. It provides a safe space to talk. I don't have to worry about being judged or looked down upon. For example, if you're talking to your other mom friends or just people in general who don't have kids, they often don't understand what you're going through. They give you tools to manage stress and anxiety, depression, and of course, strategies for coping and big transitions in your life, which is definitely having children. And honestly, just having someone to check in regularly without any fear of being judged is just so important. Because being a first-time parent, second-time parent, etc., can feel really lonely if you don't know anyone else who is one. And honestly, it's a good idea because you could have postpartum depression and not even realize, and it might be helpful to have another pair of eyes and ears to see if that's what you're going through. And honestly, we should normalize therapy, and definitely wish it was more accessible for people. At least in Canada, a lot of full-time jobs will provide mental health coverage. I used to work at a nonprofit, but the mental health coverage was very minimal. Actually, I still work at a nonprofit. It's more, I work at a bigger nonprofit, so mental health coverage is a lot better, but there's definitely not enough to cover for the whole year. So luckily, I have my husband's insurance as well, so that we can pay for the year. And I think we should normalize going to therapy because it doesn't necessarily mean something's wrong with you. It just means that you're being proactive about your mental health and taking care of yourself. And that's just important, especially when you are about to be a caretaker of someone else. Some questions before finding a therapist, or if you found one, I asked a list of questions. Specifically, I wanted someone who knew what it was like having children, because people who don't have children you just don't understand fully what it's like. And that's the same thing if that's the same similarly to someone who has a disability. You can't really understand to the full extent what they're going through. So someone who understands what being a parent is, and I think that's really helpful because they've already been there where they're going through it. There's specifically maternal mental health therapists, prenatal and postpartum mental health therapists as well. Those, and you should be able to find one. I really emphasize that it's important to find one now so that, when you go into crisis mode, or if you do, you don't have to panic and you call your therapist. And depending on how severe the situation is, obviously, you need to call 911. But it's better to have your support systems in place. This is also shocking. So the CDC Maternity Mortality Review Committee said that in 2020, we're responsible for nearly 20% of pregnancy-related deaths in 2020. And I think that's really scary because obviously there's a child now involved in this, and for a mom to take a life, that is really serious. Definitely we need to prevent that as much as possible. And I think that starts by getting help. And some of these deaths didn't happen just right after birth, happened within the first year, and it's getting pretty scary. And just research in general shows that having 2 children can increase anxiety levels more than just having one, and anxiety and depression levels, just because we're just juggling so much more. Your newborn baby as well as a toddler, and that can be just so much more on your plate. And of course, there's a list of worries like, so how's my toddler going to adjust to the new baby? You might feel guilty about taking your attention away from your first toddler because now you have to give more attention to the newborn that you're just trying to keep alive, basically. And of course, the physical demands are a lot more. I think people say, like, boys and girls, like, they're both physically demanding too. And a lot of people say boys are just rambunctious and just, really jumping off chairs. They're like going crazy. So it can be a lot. And if you're going through this or about to go through this, like, just know that this is difficult. Like, you don't have to pretend or sugarcoat it. Having children, especially more than one time, is very difficult. Thank you for listening to the Thought Podcast. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, my podcast channel, and like this video for more videos like this. And I hope you take care of yourselves out there and make sure that you're receiving help when you need it, because it's just so important. And I feel a lot of mothers out there think they have to do this alone, but you really don't. And just remember, asking for help is a sign of strength. Okay, so today's sponsor is Kind Laundry. Just kidding, they're not really a sponsor, but I do have an affiliate code. Kind Laundry use natural ingredients, and it actually comes in these sheets. So much more useful than liquid laundry detergent, because that stuff gets messy. With Kind Laundry, you can bring this anywhere. It's literally in a box, pack in your suitcase, and it's that easy. you can get 10% off by using code ZeroWasteCute.